Well, good morning. We have an update for the garden today, and I thought I'd give you a picture of Sonny sitting on his outside perch. He's giving us a show this morning, whistling. Can you whistle? Well, I guess he doesn't want to whistle. But that's Sonny. All right, here's the update for the garden. Here's some of the tomato plants. Don't have any tomatoes on that one yet. I got some peppers on this yellow pepper plant. And I got lots of buds on my green peppers and my jalapeno peppers. And then this over here is our seed carrots. They're doing really well. We're going to get a lot of seed out of them this year. And these are tomatoes that we got from Florida when we went to Florida. We'll see how those turn out. There's some different types of tomatoes there. Got some that are ripe. There's one right there that's ripe. And so they're doing pretty well. And then this is, I'll show you more tomatoes. These are ones that I transplanted. They're looking really good. Got really thick stalks. And so they're really looking pretty good. But those started growing right in the mulch pile, and I transplanted them up here. So they're doing, I don't know what kind of tomatoes they are, but they're doing very well. And then this is butternut squash, and they're doing well. There's a little butternut starting right there. A little butternut squash starting. And then on the other side, well, there's a little bit of dill there. And some onions on the other side, and some radishes. Some radishes down there. And then on the other side over there, we have the spaghetti squash, which are going crazy. They're doing really well, the spaghetti squash are. You can see how big that one is already. Laura put them in some onion sacks to hold them up on the grid. But we have that metal grid wire that goes up, and then they grow like crazy going up that. The same thing, the butternuts are going to do the same thing, but they just not as far progressed as the spaghetti squash did. Spaghetti squash are really doing well. They're way up on top already. I'll go around the other side and give you a view of that. So they're way up on top. You can see them growing up on top of the wire mesh already. And they'll just, they'll give us lots of squash, that's for sure. And then these are some mini cantaloupes. Mini cantaloupes. So we're going to see how those turn out for us. But they're doing pretty well in these bins. The mini cantaloupes are. That's just another one of those tomatoes that I transplanted. It's doing pretty well too, but it was over in the corner and it wasn't doing as good as the other one, so I put it out in the sun. And then we have some different smaller vegetables that we just planted over here. And we're already picking zucchini, and there's one right there. There's a nice zucchini coming up on this plant. This plant is doing very well. And then we've got some kale, which is doing pretty good. We had some bugs on it, but I think Laura's got that under control. Picked a lot of beans already. These are just some bush beans, but I'll get over to the other side where we've got the pole beans, and they're doing really well too. And we're getting some good lettuce out now too, lettuce and kale, and some red beets. We picked a lot of red beets out of there already. Laura makes a nice carrot, red beet, and potato, and just all root vegetables, rutabaga, and she puts them all together and bakes them, and it turns out really, really delicious. And then we got down here, we got our sunflowers coming up on the other side of the fence. That's in the mulch pile. That's their sunflowers over there. And we've had to put some tarps over our herbs and over the rhubarb because it was just getting too much sun. But they're still doing pretty well. They were getting too much sun though, and they were starting to die back. So we put the tarp up so they wouldn't get so much sun. I thought rhubarb liked a lot of sun, but apparently not. But the herbs, they were getting too much sun too. So we put the tarp up over them as well. And I'm not sure if this is. I think that's cucumbers. Oh no, that's pumpkins. That's pumpkins. Maybe that's pumpkins. More tomatoes. Those tomatoes right here are growing from the other side. They grew underneath the fence and they came up here, and so they're in that mulch pile, but they came up on this side. Strange. And we got beans coming from the other side. A pole bean from the other side came up, and it's wrapped itself around our flowers. And this is our, we've added a few more flowers back here. And our birds. I didn't feed them yet this morning. The blue jays, they love the peanuts, so I put peanuts in that container right there, and they just attack that just about every day. And so this is the backyard now with flowers. And got all my rain barrels over here. We collect, we got 4, 5, right here we have 5 55-gallon barrels that we collect rainwater in whenever it rains. And it supplies us with water when it's not raining, so we don't have to pay anything extra for the water. But that's all Laura's flowers. Everything's doing very well. I don't recall which one Mom gave us this flower as well, but it's starting to do well now too. It's starting to come in and into its own. When we were up there, she gave us this one, and it's doing pretty well now. I don't remember the name of that one though. And then we're going to take you over here. Look at the size of this sunflower. Look at the stalk on this sunflower. That's the biggest sunflower stalk I think I've ever seen. The thing is, it's at least 8 foot tall. And it's just starting to flower out right now up on top there. And then we got some more watermelon right here. And zucchinis and cucumbers. We just picked about 4 cucumbers off of there yesterday, so I don't know if there's any more ripe on there. I know those are cucumbers and those are zucchinis. And a couple of rogue tomatoes mixed in there. And then some I think those are cantaloupes. Those are full-size cantaloupes. Last time this is our fire pit. I'll show you that. That's the fire pit. And then when we had that bad storm, I collected a bunch of wood. I got a whole pile of it on the other side of the house as well. But everybody cut it all up into little pieces for me, so I wasn't going to leave it sit there. And then these are the pole beans now, and we're pulling a lot of pole beans off of there. We eat beans. That's about one of the only things I can eat now with this cancer. So for vegetables is beans, and I can eat some zucchini and a tomato on like a sandwich or something, but I can't eat like cucumbers, but Laura does. And but beans, I can eat beans, and I don't have a problem with them. So we have a lot of beans, and we're getting a lot off these plants, so that's good. And so they're doing very well. Then we got a rose bush over here that I planted this year first, and it's a climbing rose, so we put a little fencing back there for it. Then we got some flowers here. I made this little step. I bought the stairs at the Home Depot and made a little step there to put all some flowers on, some pots and different things. Here's a rose bush also that we're going to plant, but we just haven't gotten around to it. A couple other flowers. And we made that little seating area right there for in front of our fireplace, our fire pit. I'll take you in the back and show you the tomatoes in that mulch pile. That just went crazy this year. Couldn't believe it. Oh, this is the apple trees. They're 1 year old now. We planted them about a year ago, and this is the Granny Smith. It's doing very well. It's looks healthy this year. Last year it didn't look so good, but this year it's doing very, very well. And this was a what was this apple tree?
Gala.
This is a Gala apple tree, and it's doing very well as well. It's very healthy. They got blown over during that big storm that we had, and I got the two whirlybirds working again. I put a new whirlybird up there. I gotta call a roofing guy to come and take a look and make sure all the roof is in good shape yet, but from that storm. But the whirlybird I got back up there, that the wind blew off. And that's about all we got there to show you. Just some other plants that we have hanging. And then this is the canal that runs down to the river where I pump a lot of water out of. And my neighbor, he built himself another little flower pot. It looks like he's going to plant some flowers or vegetables in there probably. So he's taken some ideas from me, I think. And then this is my mulch pile that I started this year, and it's doing pretty well. I had to bend this wire over to get at it because I had to dig it up, and you know, you gotta turn it. You gotta turn it once or twice a month and get that stuff to, you know, start degrading all the leaves and everything that we put in there. But I got a big pile of stuff in there this year, and this will make great planting ground next year. And that's what I've got over on this side. And we've got more pole beans over here that are a little later, but they're doing real well too. These pole beans on this side of the fence, they're doing well. They'll give us a lot of beans off of those pole beans, and you don't have to taste the same as regular beans, and you don't have to bend over to pick them. But here's a tomato now that just grew right out of the bottom of that mulch pile, and it's right out in the grass. It's out in the lawn, but you can see that the tomatoes are growing up the side of the sunflowers. That's how well they're doing, and they're starting to get some tomatoes on them. And now you can see the tomatoes from this side, but you can see how healthy they look. They look really good, and they're just growing up with those sunflowers in there. And there's some pretty big sunflowers. They're taller than I am, for crying out loud. They're good 8-foot tall sunflowers. I haven't seen anything that big ever, I don't think. But those sunflowers and those tomatoes in there are doing very well. So hopefully I'll get a bunch out of there. But that was my mulch pile last year. And I didn't do anything. It just grew, all that stuff just grew right out of there. So, all right, that's the end of the update for today. Take care. Bye.